Gilmore Girls, Legally Blonde, Good Will Hunting, Pitch Perfect even, they all have this one thing in common. They're all movies about college slash university. And this is what this video is primarily about. Now, Australians, and I feel like people that are living in New Zealand or where I am, we kind of deal with the whole concept a little bit differently. We don't have those sort of like big football games. We don't have like classes where you will see the same person in each class. Hopefully this video kind of navigates it for more people living in Australia. We want to romanticize our experience and not glamorize the US experience. So let's just get into it. Hi, my name is Kushi. I'm a lifelong learner. If you have come on this video, thank you so much. I hope you and your family are like super blessed and you're feeling all good. And if you're not feeling so good, hopefully this video does make you feel a little bit better about the uni experience, particularly when it comes to conquering the experience itself. Get organize early. University, especially in Australia, is a free-for-all. So you need to make sure you're doing your paperwork, your black and white sort of stuff, the really boring stuff first. Timetable, work availability, HECS, so like student loans, making sure your student ID is all ready to go. All this sort of stuff that is like things that you don't really think about in terms of the experience of uni needs to be done and needs to be done early. What I would recommend is definitely put a reminder 2-3 days earlier than like the deadline for these like criterias, so that it's done out of the way, and then you can start focusing on the more like fun sort of stuff, the emotional stuff, the social stuff. You don't want your experience and your inability to conquer university because of stuff that isn't really part of the experience, right? It's the sort of paperwork. So get rid of that sort of paperwork early so that you can focus on the fun, social, emotional, and sort of romantic side of uni. Also, a really good tip is take a photo of like particularly your timetable, make a folder in your iPhone and make it like documents. So all your uni documents are the one place, because you'll be referring back to these like long passwords, your timetables, that often that you don't want to be rummaging through your photo album or trying to find it on your laptop. Take a photo of it, save it in a separate folder so you have it ready to go, and then you can really focus on your environment and really soaking everything in when it comes to the social and the more like fun stuff. Designate the first week to really absorb your environment. I cannot emphasize how important this is. I love my film analogy, so I always like to think about my life as if it's a movie. You know, in the start of a movie, you'll see like snapshots of like the environment, particularly in like a really good old 2000s like rom-com where they like got like a really iconic song, and then you get these sort of snippets of like the person doing the makeup, maybe like a coffee shop that's nearby, people talking, maybe some of the side characters that are walking, buildings that are involved in the setting of like where they are. So I like to designate the first week of uni of just doing this, really absorbing, okay, where are my buildings, where are my classes, who are the people that I'm going to be with, really like smelling and embracing where are the really go-to coffee shops that everyone is going to, where are the go-to study spaces that everyone's going to. Really be open to if someone's like, oh yeah, I know a spot, I don't know a spot, or what clubs are operating, if that's something that you're interested in. Really absorb your environment, and usually people don't get an opportunity to do this because they don't do tip 1, which is really getting that black and white paperwork style stuff out of the way, and I think also you have to remember that you'll get into a routine pretty quickly, especially if you're someone that is wanting to become an academic weapon, someone who's really wanting to stay up on top of their stuff. But I don't want your routine or your desire for a routine to get away from kind of being present in the moment and really like having fun and really taking it in, because that also gives you an opportunity to be open to friendships and let people know that you're an open person. And when you kind of like let yourself be a sponge in a moment like that, it allows people to also see you're open and then feel a little bit more comfortable to speak to you. If you're really like regimental and saying like, oh my god, like I want this routine, I'm only gonna study this spot or whatnot, that's fine. But I think when you kind of set your routine too early, you don't allow yourself to really like embrace and romanticize your environment. I know it's kind of contradictory to obviously the next parts of the video, because I'll be saying, okay, get a routine so then you can stay on top of your academic work, but also to conquer uni you have to like it, and so this is a big part of actually liking that process. Wardrobe matters. Yeah, so when you're looking at about uni fits, why is there so many videos on uni fits on YouTube? If you look up like uni inspo, college inspo, there are millions and millions of videos, because wardrobe does matter. Let's take a step back. I want you to conquer university mentally, physically, socially, emotionally, and obviously academically as well. And I think a big part of this is embraced through how we feel on that day and our sort of day-to-day basis when we are on campus. And I think you really need to find that sweet spot of feeling comfortable in enough where you're not thinking about your outfit in class, so you can really absorb the information that, is happening in the tutorial. When you're really confident in an outfit and you feel like great, you feel like, the energy of who you are is really projecting out, you're allowing yourself to really embrace the people or attract the people that you want to be friends with. Also, it allows you to really, again, romanticize the experience and have something to look forward to. At the end of the day, people do go to uni just to serve looks. Like, that is a big part of it. But I do think that, like, your wardrobe allows you to also find a sense of enthusiasm, also keeps yourself awake in class. That's why I said find a really sweet middle. Like, you need to have an outfit or outfits that are comfortable enough where you're still able to absorb that information without, like, thinking about it all the time while you're trying to learn something. You don't want to make it too comfortable where you do feel like you're about to go to bed, if that makes sense. Like, you don't want to feel like, that's why I'm saying find that really sweet middle, but also it allows you to, because you're trying to find that sweet middle, it gets you something to think about, and in your spare time you're then, romanticizing the experience by finding outfits. And it could be outfits that you already have. It could be like, you spend a day with one of your mates from work and go for like a uni shopping day. And I did this very recently. One of my friends, shout out to Sabrina, I literally love you, and it was just like so much fun. Okay, you probably see a common theme here, when it comes to conquering university, is liking it and about how you feel. Finding enthusiasm in currently, like, what you're currently studying. So this is obviously, the university part is the experience, going to the classrooms and whatnot, but I'm talking about what your degree actually is. Like, what are you studying? I don't know if I have this habit of really placing a high importance on education because my parents really, really valued it and always, like, advocated, like, go to university so you can be a lifelong learner. It's also a big part of their culture as well to have that experience, but and also to take pride in what you're studying. So I think a really big part of conquering academically is actually being passionate about what you're reading. There's millions and millions of people that have written articles for you to reference. Isn't that amazing? There's people that have shared their ideas online, dedicated their whole lives. You can have a more fruitful experience whilst you're studying. And I'm talking, people that are doing their PhDs or have written journal articles, creating Pinterest boards that allow you to be really appreciate and also give you sort of like a career trajectory in terms of what you would love to do with your degree. And I think that really comes from, again, romanticizing what you're studying, to build like study groups around like what you're studying, talking to your tutors, because usually your tutors will be really experienced in like what that field of study is, and what makes their clock tick, like why have they chosen this subject, and therefore you can kind of align why you've chosen your degree or that subject or that unit with them. I think by doing this early, it allows you to feel like, okay, am I actually in the spot that I need to be? Do I need to actually be doing this degree? Do I need to be doing this unit? Maybe I need to change to something where that does really like light that fire within. People are wait too long to be like, actually, this is not the degree I want to do. They change, and then they at university for way longer than they need to be. So find enthusiasm and novelty in what you're studying earlier, so then you can figure out if you do actually have that enthusiasm and novelty for the degree you're studying, which I hope you have. But it's so hard because we usually pick these like degrees while when we're in school, so we don't have a great understanding as to what that sort of involves and where our mindset really is. And you only get a mindset in a gear of what you're thinking when you're in it. Okay, a big part of conquering university is now obviously the academic part, right? I'm a big believer that anyone can sincerely learn anything. They just need to find a learning style that works for them. So if you're, a visual learner, an audio learner, if you like to learn through writing stuff on a whiteboard, whatever that might be, and that's obviously, kind of involving the last tip that I was talking about, this all comes from being proactive and understanding what your learning style is earlier. On top of that, in terms of conquering the academic part and being proactive, I would literally create fake deadlines. I've been doing this since like first year, because you'll realize none of your units are going to be overlapping. None of the tutors talk to each other or like teachers. So their due dates are going to be whatever they want, right? And you'll have like 4 things that are due on the same day, or you might have one thing that's due like 2 months before then your last subject like being due, or your big project. I would create fake deadlines 4 or 5 days at least before the actual deadline, and I'll put that on my phone straight away. So then actually the pressure of me having to work hard for that fake deadline allows me to kind of think about it more proactively earlier, ask the questions that I need to in class. And one thing I definitely recommend is ask your tutor for help. These tutors, when they say like, oh yeah, we've got like a 1 hour like learning session, people might be like, oh, I'm not going to really go to that. I'm telling you right now, they tell you things that they normally would not say in class. So I think that's a big part of conquering university, is actually taking those opportunities to actually ask the questions. I know it can be kind of hard because, like, even in school, sometimes to ask questions in front of a class can be daunting, but they have given you slots to do this. Definitely study sessions with friends. I love a good chinwag here and there with friends when it comes to university, but you also need, like, study sessions. I mean, like, you're studying the same subject. You're not necessarily, like, talking to each other during that study session, but you're collaborating and you want each other to do well. So you're going to be kind of giving each other that sort of, like, positive feedback, or, like, even, constructive criticism back and forth when you are, like, writing or doing that study session together. I love those study sessions because I think I actually almost find a sense of passion when I'm with someone talking about that subject, because I'm like, oh my god, actually this is really insightful, and I can see, like, two perspectives to write, like, the same thing. And you kind of, by you guys both, like, also collaborating together, obviously, like, don't plagiarize and whatnot, because that's a really big thing in university, like, please don't. But I also feel like it allows you to gain a sense of clarity. So asking questions to your tutors, asking questions to your friends, asking questions to your group members, using the study resources. But biggest part of conquering university is being proactive, because you, at the end of the day, you are the agent of your study career at university, right? So you are in control, and the more proactive you are, you're giving yourself that wiggle room to then focus on the things that you have come to university also for, which is the fun stuff. So again, like, finding the passion, which is my last tip, finding the passion, but then also being proactive and strategic in that passion is super important. That's pretty much it for all the tips. I wanted to keep this sort of, like, short and sweet, because I know for a fact you probably should be either studying or implementing these straight away. I'm hoping you learned something. I love making these videos. Please let me know if there's anything you would like me to cover more on, and have the best time at university. Remember, I'm sending you many blessings for both you and your family, and then, of course, your university experience. Thank you so much, and